Rahubat wu warhub mudrasat. Fellow students. It's not fellow, but greetings and welcome, students. I'm also a student. Never stop learning. So I really want to do the Rizq script. So I'm gonna do the Rizq script. It is, if not the favorite script, it's my favorite script. And I want to make something very clear. No, I'm not fluent. I know what I know, including the updated words. So, ladad translates into birth, but they say laduda madat, meaning, or madadat. Updated words. This is the kind of thing that you keep studying. Like I said, I just know what I know. Why do I know it? Because I took the time to look at it and look at it again and again and again and put that knowledge to the use and turn it into wisdom. Anyone can do it. I'm not special. We could all be special. And so here I am telling you that I am not fluent. Yes, you can hear all my shufflings. I'm not fluent, but I know what I know. And if I don't know, honey, I'm not gonna look it up. This is a word to all the people that are in the Telegram app. Depending on how many groups you're in, I know that there's a learning curve for the app. I know that because I went through it. I didn't know how to use that app. You can tap the top of the screen, either drag it down or just tap it, and a search bar will appear. That is how you can find words. You can use it like Google, just type in a word. If you're in a language group, so when I say I'm gonna go find out, that's what I do. I pull up the app, I tap the top of it, I type in what I'm looking for. If it comes up, it comes up. If it doesn't, then I need to go look someplace else. I will look in a book. That's my point. So I just know what I know. I have confidence in what I'm talking about, and I'm always open to being corrected if I get something incorrect. You better come correct. Technically, all these languages are ancient Egyptian languages, and they came before English, before the Latin languages, before all the mixing and colloquializing and slang and the what is it, the lazifying the lazifying of the tongue. Because what are we here to do? Wake up the tongue. We are waking up the tongue. Have grace. Keep practicing. Keep at it. Keep going. Don't stop, because you're here for a reason, and we love you for that. I cannot find my Rizq script sheet, and as I say that, I pull it out. Look at God. When I start writing, my face is no longer going to be in the thing. It's going to be pointed at the desk. You're going to see my hands. You're going to see the proper way to hold a writing implement and how to write all the Haruf-aat properly. But there aren't that many Haruf-aat in the Rizq script. Their sounds are more direct. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 26 proper letters. So you could equate that to the English Shuye Haruf-aat or alphabet. And then these optional sounds that I was talking about in the other video. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where am I getting this from? So the Nuwaubian teacher guide is my reference, my go-to for the Rizq script. And it tells you in that book that there are these 5 optional sounds. Why are they optional? Because they can be interchanged and not really used in the Rizq script. Because, like I said, I was cracking jokes in that other video, and I stand on what I say. You don't really see certain letters being used. And then that one P letter, I went and I looked and I got clarification on what that actually was. There are 2 different P's. It's a whole thing. And I was just asking if anyone knew any other words other than when you write it, Nuwapoye, Nuwapi, Nuwapik. Words like that have to do with Unuwap, with letters added after the P, because it's a whole thing. I was asking people if there were other words that utilize that letter, and I still haven't gotten an answer to this day. So it's an optional letter, and it's right here. I'm looking right at it. It's an optional letter because the B sound can be switched out with the P sound. The F sound can be switched out with the V sound. I think even the B sound can be switched out with the V sound. It's all about like what you got going on here. Because story time. So just going off of what I experienced when I was living in Senegal. I lived in a city called Medina Bay, and there are people from all over the west, north, central areas of the continent in that place, specifically the Hausa tribe. And when they were speaking English, there was one, all right, so in our house, there was the sheikha, who was American, and basically people that were hired. I don't want to call them anything down, so I'm really picking my words, but one of the male attendants of the house and one of the female attendants of the house, they're from 2 different places. The dude was part of the Hausa tribe, and the young lady was from Burkina Faso. She spoke French. He spoke Hausa, and some way, somehow, they would like get on each other's nerves. And so her name had a F sound in it, and he would flip it and call her name, but instead of making the F sound, he'll make the P sound. And it was like other words that he would do that with. But it was so funny because whenever there was a word that had a P sound, he would flip it and put the F sound there. So they're interchangeable sounds depending on your culture, your upbringing, whatever you got. When I say whatever you got going on here, how you're already speaking, what languages your tongue is already familiar with, i.e. what languages your brain is already familiar with. So, like I said, we got 26 main constantly used letters, and then we have these 5 optional sounds, which gives us 31 letters to work with. 26. And we're going to get into them. So, our first one is not our accent letter. It is the second letter, but it's our A proper. Our A. 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 Bleed begins. Our second letter, and I've seen this written in different ways. So there's like a fancy script of the Nuwaubian. There's a fancy script of the Nubic. There's a fancy script of the Rizq script, which is technically Nuwaubic, and then Nuwaupoye is Nuwaubic. I've seen this letter written a few different ways because there's like fancy versions of different scripts. Just like how you have cursive, it don't conjoin, but it's just written a different way. Like you can see it if you get the teacher guide and you scroll all the way to the bottom, that it's written differently than it is the way that it's written throughout the rest of the book. So this is what I'm familiar with. This is the accent letter, and this is the letter. It typically replaces the ah sound. In the Rizq script, I don't think it does it with any other letter other than the a or the u. And then I was watching a different pronunciation video. They're all over the place. They were specifically talking about the ah, a, and u sounds. It wasn't really tacked on to the e or the o. Is there an o? Yeah, there's an o. But this is the accent letter. So if you go back to the Sabatia video, it's more of a guttural contraction at the back of your throat when you make this letter. It's like ah. All right, our next letter, B. Why it look like that? This is B. B. And just like in all throughout any iteration of the language, any of these languages, it's not A, B, C, D, E. No, it's A, B. They don't really have a se, but de, fe, it's an e sound along with whatever proper consonant that you're making sound. But this is be. Our next one, like I just said, we don't really have a se or a ke. There is a c. I'm going to do all the optional letters at the end. I respect them, for the record. I respect them. But if they're optional, I don't want to see them. I haven't seen them. That's the thing. I hope the bleed isn't able to be visible. This is de. De. And it is the D sound in Nglashuye. We have e. And don't quote me on this. It doesn't seem to have changed, which I appreciate. E. E. It is not ah. It is not an alternative sound like how Englishuye. I'm gonna keep saying that because I just learned that word. I'm gonna keep popping it. It's not an alternative sound. It doesn't have different sounds like the vowel sounds do in Englishuye. It has one sound, one band, one sound, and you stick to it. E. Our next letter in the Nubic is fe. This is our fe. Fun fact. This is a fa in Arabic. Now, fa is written differently in Arabic. It's more straight. It don't have this curve to it. Nuwaubic in the Rizq script, which is what I'm going over right now, a lot of it is Arabic. That's my point. The classical Arabic that was being taught and promoted in the Ansarullah community in New York. So you have Nubic, but then, like Pop said in one of these videos or book, but they were moving away from Arabic around 2000, 2001, 2002, because Islam was being targeted as a terrorist organization. So they didn't want to be associated with that. And they were already getting flack in the community, but he didn't want to have the people be targeted to being something that they weren't. So they moved away from that script, from the Nubic script, but Nuwaubic uses Arabic words. One day we will get into that. Our next letter, ge. Ge. Our G sound. Ge. Fun fact about this one. No. Our next letter, he. And there is no soft or hard. This is just a regular H sound. He. And it looked like this. Okay. Our next letter is my favorite letter to write. And I haven't done it in a while, so I kind of messed it up. It's a high maintenance letter. You gotta finish it. E. It's the I sound. E. I'm so proud of this. Every time I write it out, every time I get the opportunity to write it out, I'm just like so happy. But this is the E sound. Our next letter, and you're gonna recognize this, J. It hasn't really changed either. J. J. And this is just a regular J sound. Well, you would recognize it if you studied the Nuwaubian. But I think it's actually flipped, and they threw a dot on top of it. No, it's the same. Barakallah. K. That looks really bad. It is what it is. K. The K sound. K. Our next letter, Le. Le. And this is our L sound in Nuwaubic using the Rizq script. Our next one is Me. Me. And this is our M sound. Me. Ne. Ne. And this is our regular N sound. Ne. It looks like a capital N with the first line that you draw, or depending on how you write your N's. The front one, closer to the left side, is curved, and then you just draw a regular capital N from English Juliet. Our next one is our O sound. O. Mad easy. It's just a regular O with a line through it, like an ant sign. This is our O sound. Okay. Yeah, P is not next. Our next Haruf, and I messed it up a little bit. But it's okay. Re. Re. Now, I got an anecdote for you. Story time. With this, so when I was mad young, there was a book that had to do with Egyptian something. But in that book, and I am not able to recall the name of it, but in that book, they had a sample or a simplified version of the hieroglyphs that were written on the walls. This is called a reed. A reed is really a placeholder for a P sound. That was just according to my westernized Egyptian hieroglyphic book. So I just thought it was really funny when I saw this in the Rizq script, because I'm like, I know what that is, but I had to relearn what it was because in my mind it has to do with peas. I think I was writing, I can recall writing happy birthday in the hieroglyphics, and so I wrote 2 of them. That's all I can remember. But in another life, this is going to be a P. But this is a re. This is our R. Re. Re. And roll those R's. Trill it. Our next one, and like I said, we don't really have, or in the Nuwaubian Rizq script, they don't have hard or soft letters. They do have, we'll get to them, but they just don't have hard or soft letters. But our next one, se. And this is our S sound. Se. It looked like a Harry Potter lightning bolt. Se. Te. And you will also recognize this if you have studied the Nuwaubian. And if you study Arabic, honey. This is te. And it's a regular hard T sound. That last one was a regular hard S sound. This is a regular hard T sound. So, te. Te. This next one is real easy. If we weren't already going in order, I don't even think I would still ask you to guess what it is. Ooh. Ooh. And this is our U sound. Ooh. Mm-hmm. We. We. And it looks... Do you remember what that is? But I wrote it by writing a V in one direction and writing like an A without the line in the middle in another direction. And this is we. It is our W sound. We. It just doesn't have the intersecting line. Yeah. Yeah. And this is our Y sound. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of messed it up, but it's okay. Z. Z. And this is our Z sound. Plain and simple. Z, no ZH, no ZD, no ZJ. Just regular Z. Z. And then it goes into all the combination letters. I didn't know how to say that earlier. But TH, SH, GH, KH. Starting off, we have GH, I didn't write it slant like that. That's how you actually write it. So you're not writing straight up and down lines, you're writing diagonal lines. This is re. Re. What I said last time with the sabatia, to make this sound or to emulate and give you a basis of how to make the sound, you're gargling from the back of your throat. Re. Re. This is our GH. Funky letter. Re. I love these letters. I love this script. Re. And this is our KH sound. What I said with this one last time, let me clear my throat. Re. Last one was gargling. This one is clearing your throat. Gargling, clearing your throat. Gargling, clearing your throat. Re. Now this one is straight up and down. And symmetrical. She. She. Even though, and I'm not going to get into that. But this is our SH sound. She. She. Now I'll tell you. Okay, so in every other iteration of the script, I say it looks like a pitchfork. What is associated with the pitchfork? The devil. What do you do when you want to like cast out or curse the devil? You spit. You haktui. I don't know, like that's just how I remembered it when it came to. Oh, that's not even right. Dang. I think that was a sabatia. And our last combination letter the. The. And this is just a regular TH. The. Now on to our optional letters. Our C sound. I don't know if that's straight or curved. K, as in C. I was singing C is for cookie the other day, but now I'm like, C, cookie. Maybe there should be a K. But this is what you would see and equivalent to the C in English. So this is what it look like. This is a C. Our next haruf Pe. And I want to clear something up as well. So kind of like what I said with the accent letter, not kind of, just like what I said with the accent letter of how I've seen it written different ways. In Sabatia, you can also see a P written like this. I think when it came to like generating electronic letters, they simplified it and they just made it another circle and you see the two lines in it. That's why I wrote it like that. But you can see it like this in like the fancy script. Or if you ever see this, just know that this is a P. This is a P sound. It's a regular P, no PT, no PH, no other letter other than P, proper. Our next optional letter in Nuwaubian, the Rizq script, is qa, which I found really interesting. Why is qa optional? For this to be an optional letter, this comes up way more. Like it would be a regular letter that you would see more often. But this is qa. This is the Q sound. And you also make that sound by constricting the back of your throat or the top of your throat. Whatever makes sense to you. Qa. Our next optional letter, according to the Nuwaubian Rizq script. Now, for those who know, you recognize this. This is the. This is a letter. This has significance. The. This is our V sound. The. And even if you turn it sideways, it looks like Pisces symbol. But, like I said, for those who know, the in the Nuwaubian Rizq script. And it's an optional letter. And our last letter, and I actually task you with going to do some research, because this also shows up in a book. I can't remember which one, but they talk about how it was demonized and it was flipped, kind of like a 5-pointed star. When you flip it upside down, it has negative connotations, but when it's standing with the point up, the singular point up, it signifies balance. But this is our X. This is the X. Like I said, different cultures pronounce it different ways. So, ks, sh, ch, t. However you pronounce it, it does not appear that much. But if you wanted to write the name, like, I think this is even an example in the Nuwaubian Teacher's Guide. Xavier, a name that has an X in it, this is what you would use. So this is when it would become relevant. This is the X sound, or this is the X, how it looks in the Nuwaubian Rizq script. So, pop quiz. We've come to the end. Now it's time for a pop quiz. What is... Let me gather them, because I moved stuff around. What is this? We. This is our we. What is this one? E. E. You can remember it because I. E. E. What is this? De. Whenever you see a conical shape or a triangle looking shape with a dot in the middle, it's a de. It looked like that in Nuwaubian. Here in Sabatia, just every other iteration, it don't change. Except it became more of a triangle. So, what is... What is this? Be. It is be. Our B sound. What is... If you know, you know. You'll see a lot of this. So what is this? Me. Me. It is our M sound. we'll do 2 more. What is... Well, I don't want to... What is this one? Fe. It is our F sound. Fe. Just a regular F. Last but not least, what is this? What is this? This is our accent letter. And you're mainly going to see it on a, or oo. You don't really see it on the O or the E sound. But this is our accent letter. Real quick, let me show you how it could look, just in case. So, real quick, what does this look like? It looks like a 3, but it's not a 3. It's a backwards 3. So it's not a 3 if it's backwards. This is where the sticky note utilization would come in. But this could look like this. So if you ever see this, don't be thrown off because they're the same. Like I said, if you have the Nuwaubian teacher's guide, or if you know how to get it, it's just in reference, a huge reference to if you want to learn the Nuwaubic Rizq script. And I know I keep saying Nuwaubic. Just know that the B and the P can be interchanged. So, and that is it for today in terms of learning the Haruf-aat. And pronunciation, like I said, it wasn't that long because they didn't have that many letters. So, I will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in, and that will be it. Wadu wu ashuk.